Hey guys, so I don't really have anything too exciting to talk about tonight. Nothing really new. The boys just finished their free roam. So I thought, in lieu of any big new developments with the boys, I would give an actual official rat room tour since I don't know if I've really done that before. So I guess we'll start in the entryway. So you come in. Unfortunately, there's not yet a door to this room. It's on my to-do list. And also the plugs in here aren't live, so there's some kind of issue with the wiring. So I have extension cords to bring in my lights, which if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I have these lights in here because there's not any windows, so there's not really any natural light, so there's not circadian rhythm down here, and I just didn't want them in the dark unless I was with them, so I set up these lights. They automatically go on, and they go on in like a sequence, so like one goes on and then half an hour later another goes on and so on and so forth in the same way they go off to kind of create like a gradual increase in light in the morning and then a gradual decrease in light in the evening. This is just some random stuff I keep over here, just a chair with my laptop for if I want to watch something on my laptop while I'm down here with them, because I can't take it in there with them because they will crawl all over it and pee all over it. This is just where I keep my bedding for now. Also a bag of used bedding because I'm out of garbage bags right now. I also have this little paint, that's this plastic like paint tray liner for when you're painting. And I thought it would be a good like way to introduce like pea fishing to them, because it can kind of be like almost like a beach where there's the water, like they can kind of wade in as to their level of comfort. But right now I'm trying to think of what I can do to keep them from like tipping it over while they're using it. And then over here, I have cleaned this area up a little bit. There's actually a pathway here. This is just the wheel that I tried to make that I can't get to work. I think I just used too heavy duty of a Lazy Susan bearing on the back. So it's just too stiff, like they can't turn it. It just doesn't turn very easily. So I have to revisit that or just buy them a wheel, I guess. This is an unfinished part of the room, which is partially why I can't just use the whole room as a play area. Eventually I do want to finish this, put some drawers down here, turn this into an actual bench, fill this in with some shelving so I have more storage. For now, it kind of just functions as all my kind of box and enrichment storage. So I keep all my newspaper down here that I cut up and crinkle up for them and for them to use as bedding and stuff. And then I have just a bunch of bags and boxes and just all kinds of cardboard that I've used for various things that I'll probably get some use out of. This is just, I don't know why this is still in here. It's actually the handle to a window squeegee, and it's extendable, and I used it in the past when I had my aggressive rat Fizbin. I would use it to wait until he went into the cage, and then I'd use that to close the cage so that he wouldn't come back out to try and bite me. So that was fun. And then over here I have my garbage can, which I don't really ever use. Just an old trash can. And then I got this recently. It's a hand-me-down from my parents. They were getting rid of it out of their basement, which is kind of what spurred me to clean this room up a little bit, since I had a bit more of a storage solution. So right now I just have like their food stuff up here, cleaning stuff down here. This is kind of just random, like this is like cage attachment stuff. And then this is more just like my enrichment type stuff. So replacement cardboard for the one of the enrichment toys. This one, which they always pull apart, so I only put in there sometimes. This one that the clip broke, so I've got to find some way to fix it. And then just like my twine and my Dixie cups and these, which came with one of my cages because it was a bird cage, which I don't really use. And then down here I just have some spare stuff, some spare hammocks, a spray bottle, stuff like that, and then the bottom is empty. And then this is kind of just another excess area, so a lot of the bins that I took out when I redid the cage last, their travel bin cage, the lid to some other bins, some of the shelves and things I took out, a big bag that had my sticks in it. Eventually what I would like to do with this little like cutout section, it's kind of hard to see because I can't back up far enough, is get like a big storage cabinet to put there. so I can store stuff kind of more out of the way, maybe something closed off so they can't like climb all up in it if I were to open this area up when I finish the room. And then we just have my play area itself. I said before, these are those storage cubes you can buy. I bought a really big one and then did it 3 high because they could jump 2 high. They could probably jump 3 high too if they were really determined, or if they jumped from like over there or something, but I haven't had any issues with this height. So, and it's just duct taped to the walls on either side because I didn't have enough to fully surround it. But it served me really well. I didn't have quite enough of these, or a couple broke, so I do have a couple spots where you can see it's zip tied. And it is kind of a pain. I have to just like, I'm not agile enough to get over these, so I have to just usually take 2 out when I'm gonna come in and then just put them back. But inside my play area, you've got my mega cage, which you've seen before if you follow my channel. I've got a couple tours in previous videos of how I put that together and kind of what that's made of and all the stuff that went into it. But so I won't get into that now. And then under their cage, I just have some extra bins and things that I've made to help them get in and out of the cage easily. And then I have a bunch of like spare cages. Like that was a cage I used when I first got my new boys. It was a bird cage, so I had a couple, like 3 young boys in there for a couple weeks during quarantine. So I kind of just used that as a fun little something for them to do. And then that cardboard box back there has a PVC pipe going into it, and it's full of newspaper all crinkled up and cut up for them to play in. Just a couple random cardboard boxes just splayed all over the place. This is kind of like it's kind of hard to see because it's just kind of a mess, but it was just like a little castle, so all of these interconnect and things like that. And then there's just a bunch, kind of just some random boxes that I've stuffed with like newspaper and food and stuff and bedding over the months that give them something to dig around in and play in. And then I've got this big like poster tube here that they can crawl through, plus another tube. A lot of the paper bags were at one point stuffed with newspaper and they would dig around in them, but they've kind of gotten trampled and after a while, so they don't really use those as much. There's kind of just random newspaper all over. I've got a couple blankets and towels for them to kind of like cuddle or burrow up in if they want to. I've got a ball pit, which came with my second cage because it was a ferret cage and they were getting rid of all of their ferret stuff. So this was for ferrets, and there's all kinds of different, sizes of plastic balls in there. I did just remove this because it was a bouncy ball and they were chewing on it, and so I didn't want them ingesting that, so I removed that. But that was, I think, the only one in there. I'll have to double check, but everything else is just a plastic ball, which shouldn't be too big of a problem. And then I've also got this old cheese puff container that I filled with newspaper and crinkle bedding, and I usually hide a little bit of food in there. I've got a little cat toy that they like to chase when I mess around with them. Just some more boxes. That is like a cardboard hut that I made out of some random cardboard box stuff that I had laying around. And then a little candy dish that I filled with some more paper, more crinkle paper. And then I just have a bin with the top half of their space pod, just to give them a little extra challenge, because usually when they're out I sprinkle some food in there and in a couple other places just to get them digging and burying things and just get them moving. Same thing within there. I usually just spread some food in there. That's another cage that I primarily used as the travel cage when I just had the 2. That is actually the cage that Tribble and Fizbin were living in when I got them. It came with them. And then I immediately upgraded them to at least one of those cages because I only had one at the time. So that cage I do occasionally use for transporting if I've only got like 1 or 2 rats to transport, because it's a lot easier to move around. And then back there I have the bigger cage. That was, I think, it was sold to me as a rabbit cage, but I can't imagine a rabbit small enough to be happy in that cage. But I bought that cheap off Facebook Marketplace. And that I more often use as a travel cage because I can hold, a few more rats if I need to take all 7 of them somewhere. Right now that's full of just a whole bunch of like cut up, crinkled up newspaper. So I kind of like accordion fold the newspaper and then cut it up so that it's crinkly and doesn't just get flattened. And so I sprinkle food in there, and they like to dig around and mess around in that. Pretty much the whole base is a good, probably 3-4 inches high, and it's full, so it's a lot of newspaper. And then I've got a little baby cat tree that I bought forever ago that I kind of just put in as a bridge, and then I've got their big cat tree that they got for Christmas, which they've really gotten the hang of using and seem to really enjoy climbing up and down it. So, and then you can see I have an extra one of these panels taped over the electrical socket because I don't have the actual plug on there, because I was going to do that, but then the electrical doesn't work, so I didn't really ever get around to it, and I don't know what's wrong with the electrical in this room, and I'm not particularly in a rush to fix it because I don't really need the overhead lights work, and I can do an extension cord to get those lights in, so it's not really a big deal. So I kind of just covered them so that while the rats are out, there's no way they can chew on those, live or not. And then there's another panel back behind the cage that also is covered in the same way as that. So, but yeah, and then it's kind of just one big mess in here because I think that's the way they like it. And then I just got their cage. I've kind of got it in the back corner because I didn't want it too close to this barrier so that they wouldn't be able to climb it and jump out. And then I also I have it shoved more this way because I didn't want, when I put this in, it used to be a little more centered, but when I put this in, I wanted to make sure it was far enough away that hopefully they won't try and jump out from there. No one has tried yet. I think I keep enough going on in here for them that they don't really feel the need to try and get out because there's kind of enough for them to do. So I'm hoping that will continue to be the case. So yeah, that's kind of all I've got, kind of a short little tour. I know it's not the prettiest. The kids who lived in this house previously drew on the walls. And this is all just bare drywall. It's not painted or anything. So, but my father does drywall for a living, and he has said that he'll help me finish it soon. So I just, there's another empty plug, which isn't covered because they can't get to it. But it's kind of basically, I've got a vent here, but I've got all kinds of extra, let's ignore the horrible mess that is the rest of my basement. I've got all this extra drywall that the previous owners left behind. So I'm hoping that at some point my dad can come over and help me get use that drywall to finish this area. And then I just have to get a door put on with a draft guard or something, and then I can open this up a lot more so they have even more room, and then I can move the cage out more so that it's easier for me to clean, because right now it's really hard to get at the stuff that's in the back and on the sides because I have to move the whole cage, and that means I have to move all of this. So it'll be helpful once I can kind of finish this room a little more. So I'm hoping that will come soon, and then if I can fix the wiring, then maybe I can get rid of all this, because obviously I can't have the rats anywhere near this because they would chew through those wires, which would be bad. So, but once I try to finish this, I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do with all these boxes. And I've got even more bigger boxes in my garage because I want to make them an even a way bigger box castle. I just haven't got around to it yet, and also there isn't a ton of room in here for it. So yeah, that's all I've got. The boys are going to town. I scatter fed them and filled up some of their foraging toys, so they're all eaten away. So I'm gonna leave them in peace for the night. See you next time.